يا رسول الله يا حبيب الله يا رسول الله يا حبيب الله يا نور عيني يا حبيبي يا نور عيني يا حبيبي يا بالزهراء يا رسول الله.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear friends. How are you? I missed you all. In the previous episode, we talked about the sad events of the Battle of Uhud and the hard lessons that the Muslims learned from it. After it, they were determined to obey the orders of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the commands of their leaders in the army to do what they are ordered. But the Battle of Uhud had consequences that were not in favor of the Muslims. Come with me, my friends, to find out the rest of the story. The Arabian tribes around Medina were powerful tribes that lived on looting and stealing. And the presence of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Muslims nearby hindered their raids, and they were afraid of the growth of Islam's strength. Some of them began to plot against the Muslims and tried to harm them as much as they could. Therefore, some men among them pretended to embarrass Islam and sought to be taught by the Muslims. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ sent 10 of the best companions with them. But when they reached a place called Raji' near Mecca, they were ambushed, and all of them were martyred except for 2 of the companions who were sold to Quraysh to be also martyred later than in Mecca. At the same time, another tragic event occurred that was even more severe than the first one. It was the incident of the well of Ma'una, where 70 of the companions who memorized the Quran were killed in another betrayal of the tribes around Medina. One of the leaders of those tribes came and presented a gift to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Then he indicated that he should send some of the companions to the people of the region of Najd to invite them to Islam, and promised that these companions will always be safe and no one would harm them. So the Prophet sent a group of 70 companions. All of them were memorizers of Quran. When they reached a place called the Well of Ma'una, they camped there. Then they sent a message to the leader of the neighboring tribe to the Well of Ma'una, inviting him and his people to Islam. But he ordered the messenger who came with a letter to be killed before even reading the message. Before his martyrdom, this companion said, "Then I am victorious by the Lord of the Kaaba." As for his companions who were waiting for him, they were all surprised by the men who had surrounded them from all sides, and then with their swords, they killed them all. Even though the companions sought and fought them bravely, but they were all martyred. Only one companion survived. The surviving companion encountered 2 men whom he thought were among the ones who ambushed them and killed his friends, so he killed them mistakenly. Then he returned to inform the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of what had happened. Despite the sadness of our beloved Prophet for what happened to his companions and the betrayal that occurred, he wanted to pay the blood money, the compensation for these 2 men that were killed mistakenly. He went to the tribe of Banu Nadir and took some companions with him to seek their help in paying the blood money, as the Prophet had pact with them to assist in the matter. The Jews of Banu Nadir welcomed the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and pretended to express their sorrow for the tragic incident and their willingness to help. Then they secretly agreed to throw a stone at the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from above the house where he sits. So the Malak, the angel Jibreel, informed the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ of the treachery or what the Jews were planning against him. So he immediately left the place and returned to Medina. He then sent to Banu Nadir, ordering them to leave the city and giving them 3 days to do so. But the leader of the hypocrites, Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, then he sent to these Jews asking them to stay and to disobey the orders of the Messenger of Allah, and he resist his command, and he said that do not give up to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he promised them that he would fight with them to protect them. The Jews carried out what the leader of the hypocrites had suggested. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ ordered the companions at the time to go out and fight them. So they set up on foot. They went to the region of Bani Nadir and laid siege to them for 6 nights. Allah instilled fear into their hearts. They sought permission from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to leave Medina and go to Khaybar, taking with them their wealth, but not their weapons, to leave the weapons behind. They also destroyed their own houses with their own hands so that no one else could benefit from these houses that they left. After that, they headed to Khaybar and settled there. The Muslims returned from the siege of Banu Nadir stronger. The Prophet then he sent out expeditions after that to the region to regain the honor of the Muslims, and himself went out to punish the tribes that had betrayed the noble companions. They fled before the Muslims reached them, and because of fear and terror. Finally, after Uhud, stability returned to Medina. Only the tribe of Banu Qurayza remained in the city. They had pledged alliance to the Prophet. So, what happened after that? And why did a delegation from the Jews of Khaybar came to Quraysh? And what was the mission of this delegation? Why did they pay money to the tribes of Ghatafan and Salim? And what is the new danger that is coming to Medina? All this we will find out in the upcoming episode of this series, my friends. So stay tuned.